Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about a charming character named Alexander Smirnoz. Now, he is, well, the first thing he is, and has been for many years, is an FBI source and a very important and not fully recognized part of the story is that the FBI is so sick of this guy and disgusted with him, they were willing to, with the approval or participation of DOJ, to burn a source, something they do not like to do, even when sources have had their credibility questioned. Has Smirnoff had its credibility questioned? Yeah, you could say that. It turns out that he comes to the government, the FBI, and tries to sell them a completely fictitious story about Burisma bribing Joe and Hunter Biden with $5 million each. It's all total bullshit, completely made up. And more important than that, turns out this charming guy met just a few months ago with Russian intelligence officials. So not only is it total garbage, but it's Russian intelligence misinformation garbage, the very same stinking pile of stuff that we first came to our shores in 2016 and totally muddled the election or confused it. I won't get into did it give it to Trump or not, but it sure didn't help. And it certainly diluted many voters. That's what we're talking about. Lies, serial lies, nothing but lies, and sourced to essentially Russian intelligence. That's Smirnoff. Okay. Now he's arrested on this charge, and we learn a lot of things yesterday because the government files a motion saying he should not get bail. You need to keep him. And when I say the government files a motion, it's very important to note it is David Weiss, the very special counsel who's now throwing the book at Hunter Biden and, to my mind, kowtowing to House Republicans, but definitely not the, supposed deep state DOJ trying to get at Donald Trump. So the source here is a figure who has every reason not to discredit the information that it turned out Smirnoff was peddling. And what was that? Well, besides the things he was just indicted for and lied about, he seems to maybe be the only source of these, scandalous, but always sort of, murky and not fully fleshed out allegations that Burisma had brought on Hunter Biden as a willing participant in order to influence peddle with his father, the then vice president, that this happened in 2015 and 2016. And there was a meeting where, Burisma says, and ham-handed language, maybe poorly translated, yes, we want, Hunter here so that his father, the vice president, can help us with various things. And then an allegation of Joe Biden kind of jumping on the phone at one point to say hi and, sort of in a wink, nod way. Well, guess what? None of it ever happened, or at least none of it ever happened while Joe Biden was vice president. Because it turns out that Smirnoff never had any communications with Burisma at all. And none of this could have been the case until 2017 at the earliest, when who is no longer vice president? Joe Biden is no longer vice president. So there wouldn't even be the possibility of some kind of influence peddling with the U.S. government. And the whole thing really just collapses like a deck of cards. Now, this comes out. This is what I'm saying about burning the FBI source. He had told him this stuff. He peddled to him. It was all false. It didn't happen when he said it happened. And there's all kinds of other stuff that they use in saying he has to stay in jail, including this little Philip that he says he only has $6,000 to his name. Well, actually, it's more like $6 million, all liquid, that he's basically his girlfriend is holding for him, and they could use, to travel the world for the rest of their natural lives. So the lying, that's all, and that all comes through in, you couldn't get a more serious representation from David Weiss. It's to the court to say, keep this guy in bail. So obviously it's his very best knowledge, and nobody could try to disparage it as being, somehow pro Biden or whatever. And so now notice, look, Hunter Biden's crimes. This is how the whole thing starts, and he starts looking into it. Does Weiss? He does turn up in the, in Hunter's drug-addled period, some tax violations, gun violations. That makes Hunter unlucky, but it doesn't make him innocent. Those things get prosecuted all the time. Just now I'm thinking of Webb Hubbell, who had the misfortune to be friends with the Clintons, and they looked into him for really political reasons, but came up with some hanky-panky he was doing with his, law firm escrow. And those are fair prosecutions. Same with Hunter Biden. But let's go now to the House Republicans. Because that notion is really basically all there is that they've been selling for years, and is at the foundation of their now very flailing Joe Biden investigation inquiry, which now has its ninth witness. Currently before them, Joe Biden's brother, who is testifying that he and Joe never had any business dealings together in his entire life. So the whole thing is to the extent it involves the efforts to politically smear or even impeach Joe Biden through Hunter. The whole thing, is not just flailing, but really collapsing like a house of cards. There may be what the Republicans' response to this first was to say, oh, the FBI and DOJ have a lot of explaining to do, and maybe they do. But what about you, who have been selling this to the American people through a bullhorn for years? And then they say, anyway, it doesn't matter. Smirnoff's just one of several prongs of evidence we have about this stuff. I'm not sure about what those other prongs are. And I think, in fact, they're now on Joe Biden's brother is the ninth witness in this impeachment inquiry. I think, as best I can tell, they ain't got nothing. And maybe there's some innuendo that, but although maybe it just comes from Smirnoff anyway, at a minimum, a very large part of their investigation, has just had the rug pulled out from under it. And that is really hurting. And then recall, of course, it's on a nice edge anyway, because there's only a 1 vote advantage for the Republicans in the House. So that could well mean that, there's not going to be support for going forward at all, especially when people like, say, Republicans in purple districts understand that there's nothing here, even, but not that it's weak or whatever. But if really this is all about Burisma, and unless they come forward with some really great stuff that doesn't have anything to do with Smirnoff, who's about as tarnished a source as it comes, they really have nothing. And the responsible thing that we can expect the Speaker of the House to do is to therefore close up shop and say, we investigated and said that, but there's really nothing there, and it would be unfair to go forward. Not, he will somehow try, Mike Johnson, to soldier on now that his hand is revealed to be, a 2, a 4, a 7. He's got nothing there, but somehow they're going to try to maybe save face, but forget about the notion of saying, oops, never mind, we got this all wrong. And that's where, and again, I'll close where I started. It's not just from a liar. It's not just that it's been discredited. It's from a liar who gets his information from, he's a lackey of, a stooge of, which makes the Republicans lackeys and stooge of Russian intelligence, whose whole mission is to engender chaos, and at least in 2016, advantage Donald Trump's electoral prospects by putting all kinds of misinformation out into the water. And it looks like this was a pretty successful effort in that overall mission. And in fact, its vestiges remain with us even today in the Republicans' impeachment inquiry, which next week is scheduled to hear from Hunter Biden himself. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.